10th SSC Science 2 Chapter 2 Life Processes in Living Organisms Part 1. The topics to be covered are living organisms and life processes, some nutrients and energy efficiency, living organisms and energy production, cell division, a life process. Living organisms and life processes. Various organ systems are continuously performing their functions in human body, along with the various systems like digestive, respiratory, circulatory, excretory, and control systems. Different external and internal organs are performing their functions independently, but through a complete coordination. This overall system is in action in more or less same way in all the organisms. Those are in need of continuous source of energy for this purpose. Carbohydrates, fats and lipids are the main sources of this energy, and it is harvested by the mitochondria present in each cell. It is not like that only foodstuff is sufficient for energy production, but oxygen is also necessary. All these, that is foodstuffs and oxygen, are transported up to the cell via circulatory system. Besides, it is coordinated by the control system of the body. That is, each life process contributes in its own way in the process of energy production. Functioning of all these life processes also requires the energy. Human and other animals consume the fruits and vegetables, plants and autotrophs. They prepare their own food. They utilize some of the food for themselves, whereas the remaining is stored in various parts like fruits, leaves, stem, roots, etc. We consume all these various plant materials and obtain different nutrients like carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins, minerals, etc. Which food materials do we consume to obtain these nutrients? We obtain the carbohydrates from milk, fruit, jaggery, cane, sugar, vegetables, potatoes, sweet meats, and cereals like wheat, maize, ragi, jawar, millet, rice, etc. We get 4 kilocalories energy per gram of carbohydrates. Let us study the way by which this energy is obtained. Many players are seen consuming some foodstuffs during breaks of the game. Living organisms and energy production. In living organisms, respiration occurs at two levels, as body and cellular level. Oxygen and carbon dioxide are exchanged between body and surrounding in case of respiration occurring at body level. In case of respiration at cellular level, foodstuffs are oxidized either with or without help of oxygen. Carbohydrates of the food that we consume every day are mainly utilized for production of energy required for daily need. This energy is obtained in form of ATP. For this purpose, glucose, a type of carbohydrates, is oxidized step by step in the cells. This is called as cellular respiration. Cellular respiration occurs among the living organisms by two methods. Those two methods are aerobic respiration, that is, oxygen is involved in it, and anaerobic respiration, oxygen is not involved in it. In aerobic respiration, glucose is oxidized in 3 steps. First step is glycolysis. Process of glycolysis occurs in cytoplasm. A molecule of glucose is oxidized step by step in this process, and 2 molecules of each pyruvic acid, ATP, NADH2 and water are formed. Molecules of pyruvic acid formed in this process are converted into molecules of acetyl coenzyme A. 2 molecules of NADH2 and 2 molecules of CO2 are released during this process. Second step, tricarboxylic acid cycle. Both molecules of acetyl coenzyme A enter the mitochondria. Cyclic chain of reactions called as tricarboxylic acid cycle is operated in the mitochondria. Acetyl part of acetyl coenzyme A is completely oxidized through this cyclical process, and molecules CO2, H2O, NADH2, FADH2 are derived. Third step, electron transfer chain reaction. Molecules of NADH2 and FADH2 formed during all above processes participate in electron transfer chain reaction. Due to this, 3 molecules of ATP are obtained from each NADH2 molecule and 2 molecules of ATP form from each FADH2 molecule. Besides ATP, water molecules are also formed in this reaction. Electron transfer chain reaction is operated in mitochondria only. Thus, a molecule of glucose is completely oxidized in aerobic respiration, and molecules of CO2 and H2O are produced along with energy. What is ATP? ATP is adenosine triphosphate, is energy-rich molecule, and energy is stored in the bonds by which phosphate groups are attached to each other. These molecules are stored in the cells as per need. Chemically, ATP is triphosphate molecule formed from adenosine ribonucleoside. It contains a nitrogenous compound, adenine, pentose, sugar, ribose, and 3 phosphate groups. As per the need, energy is derived by breaking the phosphate bonds of ATP. Hence, ATP is called as energy currency of the cell. What is NADH2? Full form, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. FADH2, flavin adenine dinucleotide. Both enzymes are formed in the cells and used in cellular respiration. If there is insufficient amount of carbohydrates in body due to exceptional conditions like fasting and hunger, then lipids and proteins are used for energy production. In case of lipids, they are converted into fatty acids, whereas proteins into amino acids. Fatty acids and amino acids are converted into acetyl coenzyme A, and energy is obtained through complete oxidation of acetyl coenzyme A by the process of Krebs cycle in mitochondria. Process of energy production through aerobic respiration of carbohydrates, proteins and fats. Lipids, carbohydrates and proteins. Lipids, we get fatty acids. Proteins, we get amino acids. Carbohydrates go through glycolysis. From glycolysis, pyruvic acid. From pyruvic acid, acetyl coenzyme A, which is called as Krebs cycle, and which also forms CO2 and H2O and energy. Anaerobic respiration in living organism cells. Glucose undergoes glycolysis. Glycolysis undergoes pyruvic acid, then fermentation, different products like vinegar, vitamins, etc., and various microbes. Glycolysis also forms pyruvic acids. In one part, pyruvic acid after fermentation produces alcohol in yeasts, and pyruvic acids of organic matter by microorganisms in the gut. Fermentation creates lactic acids in erythrocytes, muscle cells. Energy production in microorganisms through anaerobic respiration. Now, how energy is produced? How energy is produced in microorganisms through a anaerobic respiration. So some organisms cannot live in presence of oxygen. Example, many bacteria. Such living organisms have to perform anaerobic respiration for energy production. Glycolysis and fermentation are two steps of anaerobic respiration. Glucose is incompletely oxidized and less amount of energy is obtained in this type of respiration. Pyruvic acid produced through glycolysis is converted into other organic acids or alcohol with the help of some enzymes. In this process, this is called as fermentation. Some higher plants, animals, and aerobic microorganisms also perform anaerobic respiration instead of aerobic respiration if there is depletion in oxygen level in the surrounding. Example, seeds perform anaerobic respiration if the soil is submerged under water during germination. Similarly, our muscle cells also perform anaerobic respiration while performing the exercise. Due to this, less amount of energy is produced in our body and lactic acid accumulates, due to which we feel tired. Energy from different food components. Excess of carbohydrates are stored in liver and muscles in the form of glycogen. What is the source of proteins? What are they made up of? Proteins are the macromolecules formed by bonding together many amino acids. Proteins of animal origin are called as first-class proteins. We get 4 kilocalories of energy per gram of proteins. Amino acids are obtained after digestion of proteins. Those amino acids are absorbed in the body and transported up to each organ and cell via blood. From these amino acids, organs and cells produce various proteins necessary for themselves and the whole body. Those examples are given in the following diagram. Amino acids, skin, good for skin, melanin, keratin, bones, osin, cells, various proteins of cell membrane, various enzymes, pancreas, insulin, trypsin, pituitary glands, various hormones, muscles, actin and myosin, flexible proteins, blood, hemoglobin, antibodies. Always remember, excess of amino acids obtained from proteins are not stored in the body. They are broken down and the ammonia formed is eliminated out of the body. If necessary, excess of proteins are converted into other useful substances like glucose through the process of gluconeogenesis. Plants produce the necessary amino acids from mineral de novo and thereby produce different proteins. An enzyme rubisco present in the plant chloroplasts is most abundant protein found in nature. The substances formed by specific chemical bond between fatty acids and alcohol are called as lipids. Digestion of lipids consumed by us is nothing but their conversion into fatty acids and alcohol. Fatty acids are absorbed up and distributed everywhere within the body. From those fatty acids, different cells produce various substances necessary to themselves. Example, the molecules called as phospholipids, which are essential for producing plasma membrane, are formed from fatty acids. Besides, fatty acids are used for producing hormones like progesterone, estrogen, testosterone, aldosterone, etc., and the covering around the axons of nerve cells. We get 9 kilocalories of energy per gram of lipids. Excess of lipids are stored in adipose connective tissue in the body. Vitamins are a group of heterogeneous compounds of which each is essential for proper operation of various processes in the body. There are main 6 types of vitamins: A, B, C, D, E and K. Out of these, A, D, E and K are fat soluble, whereas B and C are water soluble. We have seen that FADH2 and NADH2 are produced in the process like glycolysis and Krebs cycle. Vitamins like riboflavin, vitamin B2 and nicotinamide vitamin B5 respectively are necessary for their production. There is about 65 to 70% water in our body. Each cell contains 70% water, weight by weight. Blood plasma also contains 90% of water. Functioning of cells and thereby whole body disturbs even if there is a little loss of water from the body. Hence, water is an essential nutrient. Along with all above mentioned nutrients, fibers are also essential nutrients. In fact, we cannot digest the fibers. However, they help in the digestion of other substances and digestion of undigested substances. We obtain the fibers from leafy vegetables, fruits, cereals, etc. Cell division is one of the very important properties of cells and living organisms. Due to this property, only a new organism is formed from existing one. A multicellular organism grows up and emaciated body can be restored. There are 2 types of cell division as mitosis and meiosis. Mitosis occurs in somatic cells and stem cells of the body, whereas meiosis occurs in germ cells. Before study of cell division, we should know the structure organization of cell that we have studied earlier. Each cell has a nucleus. Besides, other cell organelles are also present. Let us study the cell division with the help of this information. Before any type of cell division, the cell doubles up its chromosomes number present in its nucleus. That is, if chromosomes number is 2 in number, 2 nucleotides, it is doubled up to 4 nucleotides. A pair of each type of chromosome is present in 2 nucleus condition, whereas single chromosome of each type is present in N condition, and their structure is like the one shown in figure given beside in X shape. Mitosis. What is mitosis? Somatic or vegetal cell. Somatic or vegetal cell and stem cells divide by mitosis. Mitosis is completed through 2 main steps. Those 2 steps are karyokinesis, nuclear division, and cytokinesis, cytoplasmic division. Karyokinesis is completed through 4 steps. So those 4 steps are, first one is prophase, In prophase, condensation of basically thin thread-like chromosomes start. Due to this, they become short and thick and they start to appear along with their pairs of sister chromatids. Centrioles duplicate and each centriole moves to opposite poles of the cells. Nuclear membrane and nucleolus start to disappear. Second, metaphase. Nuclear membrane completely disappears in metaphase. Chromosomes complete their condensation and become clearly visible along with their sister chromatids. All chromosomes are arranged in parallel to equatorial plane, central plane of the cell. Special type of flexible protein fibers, spindle fibers, are formed between centromere of each chromosomes at both centrioles. Third, anaphase. In anaphase, centromeres split and thereby sister chromatids of each chromosome separate and they are pulled apart in opposite directions with the help of spindle fibers. Separated sister chromatids are called as daughter chromosomes. Chromosomes being pulled appear like bunch of bananas. In this way, each set of chromosomes reach at two opposite poles of the cell. Fourth is telophase. The chromosomes which have reached at opposite poles of the cell now start to decondense, due to which they again become thread-like. Thin and invisible nuclear membrane is formed around each set of chromosomes reached at poles. Thus, two daughter nuclei are formed in a cell. Nucleolus also appears in each daughter nucleus. Spindle fibers completely disappears. In this way, karyokinesis completes and cytokinesis begins. So, cytokinesis is nothing but the cytoplasm divides by cytokinesis and two new cells are formed, which are called as daughter cells. In this process, a notch is formed at the equatorial plane of the cell, which deepens gradually and thereby two new cells are formed. However, in case of plant cells, instead of notch, a cell plate is formed exactly along midline of the cell and thus cytokinesis is completed in plants. Mitosis is essential for growth of the body. Besides, it is necessary for restoration of emaciated body, wound healing, formation of blood cells, etc. Meiosis. Meiosis is completed through two stages. Those two stages are Meiosis I and Meiosis II. Meiosis I, recombination crossing over occur between homologous chromosomes. Thereafter, those homologous chromosomes, not sister chromatids, are divided into two groups and thus two haploid cells are formed. Homologous chromosomes are maternal and paternal chromosomes. Meiosis II is just like mitosis. In this stage, the two haploid daughter cells formed in meiosis I undergo division by separation of recombined sister chromatids and four haploid daughter cells are formed. Process of gamete production and spore formation occurs by meiosis. In this type of cell division, four haploid nucleotides daughter cells are formed from one diploid two nucleotide cells. During this cell division, crossing over occurs between the homologous chromosomes and thereby genetic recombination occurs. Due to this, all the four daughter cells are genetically different from parent cell and from each other too.